It's Easter Sunday, and we find ourselves at a cemetery. However, this is not your typical burial ground. It is a sacred space with a deep history that tells a story more about human resilience in life than of death. Welcome to the Contraband and Freedmen Cemetery in Alexandria, Virginia. Once land owned by a Confederate sympathizer during the Civil War, it was seized by the Union military governor in 1864 to be used as a burial ground for African Americans who had escaped slavery. Over 1,700 burials had taken place here over the next 5 years, many of them children. Over time, the space became neglected and forgotten. Thankfully, in the late 1980s, it began to experience a rebirth, and now it is both a cemetery and a memorial where visitors can learn about and appreciate the struggles of the individuals buried here. Let's pay a visit to those who took the biggest gamble of their lives to be free. Locations of many of the surviving graves remain unidentified, but more than 540 have been found by archaeologists and given markers. Though individuals can no longer be linked to burial plots, the names of those buried in this cemetery survive. They are inscribed here, along with ages, dates, and places of death, and notes left by the record keeper. Today, visitors to the cemetery memorial join descendants of the Contrabands and Freedmen in honoring the memory of these freedom seekers. And there's something else down here at the bottom. There is a little mark here. It says, "Living Descendant Found." Individuals for whom living descendants have been identified are noted with this marker. And there are a number of them on the wall. I don't know if you can make it out, but along this side we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. And here there looks like there may be a bit more than that. But there are lots and lots of names here. And this actually reminds me a lot of the section of Arlington National Cemetery where the sailors from the battleship Maine are buried. So the Maine blew up in Havana Harbor, and all these sailors were killed, and they know who the sailors were, but when the bodies were found, they didn't know exactly whose bodies those were. So they knew as a whole who they were, but as far as the individuals, they didn't know. So there's this area where all their names are listed in the front. And then in the back, you have all these graves where it says unknown. And that's kind of what we have here. This may look like a big kind of empty grassy area, but this is a cemetery. There are graves all over here. And although they may not know exactly who is buried where, they do know who is in this cemetery as a whole, and their names are here on these walls. Learning to read at an Alexandria Freedmen school. That's what this relief is. Overwhelmed by their numbers, Alexandria could offer little aid to the newly arrived contrabands. Some took up residence in temporary barracks created near the site of a former slave jail. Others found shelter in free black neighborhoods or in abandoned buildings and shanties. Social workers like Julia Wilbur, a white Quaker from New York, and Harriet Jacobs, a black freedwoman, responded to the need by gathering supplies, attending to medical problems, and setting up schools and other community services. Despite their efforts, many, particularly children, died from exposure or disease. Still, the freed people worked tirelessly to create new lives, and in the process, reshape the city of Alexandria. And we have another very powerful relief over here. It says, "Fleeing slavery for sanctuary and freedom in Alexandria." bit of a close-up. So we have an elderly woman who's having a lot of trouble making it. I mean, this really doesn't need any explanation. You can just see it all in their faces, in their body language. When Virginia seceded in May of 1861, Union troops occupied Alexandria and turned the port town into a staging area and base for operations. It also became a beacon for freedom seekers who took the opportunity war provided to escape enslavement. Thousands of fleeing African Americans made the dangerous and difficult journey through Confederate territory, often traveling on foot, some coming from hundreds of miles away. They arrived in Alexandria hungry, tired, and with few resources, and began searching out food, clothing, shelter, medical treatment, and education. And here we have a quote from Emma Bynum, a freedwoman describing her flight to freedom in a composition for her school teacher, Miss Lucy Chase. And it says, "I traveled 65 miles and we had 52 in our number. Before we crossed the river, we thought we would be taken at any moment. The babies cried and we could hear the sound of them on the water. We laid all night in the woods, and the next day we traveled on and we reached Suffolk that night, and we lost 21 of the number." And we also have a map of Alexandria from 1865. The city. The freedom seekers who arrived in Alexandria joined a large existing community of African Americans, including many free and enslaved individuals. These residents, new and old, helped to shape the city, establishing neighborhoods and founding churches and schools. They also went to work on the railroads, at the wharves, in factories and small businesses, at hospitals and army encampments, and in homes. This one panel here is a bit different from the others. So it says, in Alexandria's first known civil rights protest, 443 members of the United States Colored Troops signed a petition requesting that black soldiers be buried alongside their white comrades in arms at the nearby military cemetery. Some authorities fought their request, and in one instance, the caisson of a USCT soldier en route to the military cemetery was forcibly rerouted to this cemetery. Still, the soldiers won their battle, and in January 1865, caskets of over 100 USCT soldiers were disinterred from this burial ground and moved to Alexandria's National Cemetery, where they are recognized by stone markers today. Their names are listed below. And this cemetery, Alexandria National Cemetery, is not far from here at all. It's actually walking distance. But of course, that is a military cemetery, a national cemetery. But since they had been interred here, they are honored with this panel. And just the outside. Well guys, that is it from the Freedmen Cemetery. It is quite a powerful place, and I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Easter, and like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. This is Vigoroso, off to the next cool spot. Take care, guys.